Hey, welcome to the Live Full podcast where we talk about all things faith, family, and living fully the life God wants for you. On today's episode, we'll be talking about having conversation, communicating, yapping, as some people say, and how do we do that well. And on my show today, I have someone who does this excellently, and this is none other than Susan. Hey, Susan, welcome to the show.
Hey, Gladys. Good to be here. Thanks for
I
having me.
know. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
When I thought about this topic, there was the first person that came to mind was definitely you. And I'll tell you why. Even as a child, because you've been speaking
For a long
for a
time.
long
An
time.
elderly person.
Not that elderly. You don't have to reveal your age too, but I remember even as a young kid, my mom would take me to these. I don't think I've ever told you this, but my mom would take me to these mother-daughter sessions. I don't know if you remember doing
I
that
did.
at
I did. Focus
hotels.
of the family.
Was it Focus on the Family?
Yeah.
So you would hold these workshops
Yes.
or events
Yes.
for moms and daughters.
Yes.
And my mom would be the first one to sign up. So I think she was probably your first fan.
Oh,
And then she made me a fan too. Because then we would go for these events. And I'll be like, this Susan, oh my word, she
it's
is
a long
great.
time ago.
And I was
My
very
Lord.
inspired by it because I thought you were so engaging. You were funny, but you were real. You are. I think that's just who you
Yeah.
are too. And anyone who gets around you, I think would say that
Yeah.
you're fun to
Wow.
be around. And that's a long time ago, but since then until now, you are
I
still
haven't
doing it.
stopped talking.
I know. See, who better than to teach us and tell us more about how to speak well, right?
Amen.
And I think that actually communicating is a very big part of our lives.
Right, right,
It's
right.
an important part of our lives. We
Yes.
communicate things, and it's not just about speaking. I think I used to think of it like, oh, it's just public speaking, right?
Right,
How you stand in front of a stage.
right.
But that's not true. Actually, communication is in every part of our lives. I mean, as a parent, I communicate my needs and demands to my children every day, right?
And vice versa.
Vice versa. And also, I think in church, actually, that's a common thing that
It's
we
a
do,
huge
right?
part of what we do.
It's a huge part. You teach a lesson. Maybe for leaders, they teach a lesson. Maybe you want to share the gospel with somebody at work or,
Right,
in school.
right.
You are communicating a message too. And so I wanted to talk a bit about that.
Sure.
But before we get to that, I think let's get to know you first. So
Okay.
why don't you tell us a bit more about yourself, your
So,
background,
the good, the
and
bad, and the ugly.
everything we want to know?
I was born in Sydney, Australia, so I'm an Aussie girl and grew up there. Family, very ordinary family. My mum was a housewife, dad's a taxi driver. I'm the first person in my family to go to university.
Wow.
I have two brothers, an older brother, a younger brother. My older brother is mentally disabled. So
Mm,
that was an interesting childhood and sort of sparked some of my early university work. And then I met and married Mr. Comiskey in a sort of a whirlwind. Met him the week before Easter, married him the week before Christmas.
wow.
Oof. And yeah, and he is,
If you know, you know.
well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. It was
38 years later, here we are. And he's from New Zealand. So I moved
mm,
to New Zealand in the middle of my university work and got married. And yeah, but always had a heart for missionary. I had a missionary call and from a very young age. And I remember when Shane asked me to marry him, he said, "Well, I don't want to be a missionary." And I said, "Well, I do. So I think it's over."
yeah.
And he was like, "No, it's not."
And look at him now.
And look at us now. So that's another long story.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we lived in New Zealand, and then we began the missionary thing, lived all over the world, Tonga, Uganda, East Timor, UK, Singapore. And in the middle of all of that, growing, church planting, learning,
Yep.
studying, we had 22 years of infertility.
Mm-hmm.
So then we got the shock of our life, and I got cancer,
Yeah. All at the
and
same time.
all at the same time. And it was like, what? Okay, right. So after we dealt with that, then we fell naturally pregnant. No IVF,
Mm,
nothing. And it was just a stunning miracle. And
yeah.
so now we have Miss Anna Comiskey, who is nearly 15.
Yeah.
So that's that's sort of the short story. We now live permanently in Singapore.
Mm,
Shane is sort of segueing into another area of missions, and I have taken up the Dean of Students at Asia Theological Center, which
yep.
is our Bible school.
Yep.
And I also resident faculty, and I teach everything from pneumatology, pastoral epistles, New Testament survey,
Yep.
all the way through to stuff like emotional intelligence for the spiritual leader, anything to do with missions, of course. Yeah, so I'm basically always talking, and I
Yeah.
do a lot of the training for the
No, you
missionaries.
teach everything
Yeah, and I
in
do
anything.
next step, and I'm starting an LIW class this
Yeah.
Sunday. So yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
my daughter says I'm a professional yapper. So there you go.
Hey, we need a yapper, I
We
think.
yapper, baby. So that's me. So yeah, I have a teaching background. I have a undergrad, master's, and a doctorate, and very, very, very lucky, blessed, privileged to have all those opportunities.
Yeah. Well, how did you get into speaking so much? Because,
Oh,
since that
wow.
was your
Yeah.
background, I think for most people, they feel like maybe I need a degree, right, in comms, or I need some kind
You
of background in that.
No, not at all. I think what happened was I had some friends in the industry
Yeah.
who just said, "Hey, we heard you shared like Connect Group. You should come to this thing." And so everything just took momentum and grew. But what happened is the more you speak, the better you get.
Yep.
So it's practice makes perfect. So some of my earlier stuff, I'm like, please, Jesus, I hope nobody has the tapes. And then sometimes I hear myself saying things and I'm like,
Yeah.
like what on earth, like, so but the more you do it, and then they say, hey, we heard this girl and she was okay, and just be flexible and open, and the Lord opens doors.
Yeah.
But like, by a concrete example was, I wrote a re-entry program for our church
Yep.
for our returning missionaries, and then my friend said, you know what, I think that the secular could do with this. And we've got a project with the Singapore Police Force. They've got guys deployed in
That's
East
so
Timor,
cool.
and they're coming back. I'm going to pitch your idea. And I'm like, what? You're going to do what? I can't talk to the Singapore police. What are you talking about? She goes, no, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, okay, well,
That is so
knock
cool.
yourself out, girlfriend. And they said yes.
Wow.
So I did a 2-day training with the
Okay, I
Singapore
didn't
Police
know
Force.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, for the guys that came back from East Timor. And then I did a lot more stuff for the police. And then Health Promotion Board said, hey, we heard you were at the police. So, you know, yeah, just,
Wow. Amazing the doors like got to
yeah. And I
open.
did all the NS camps on how to find a girlfriend. That was crazy. It was called She's the One.
I think we need another podcast recording for that one because that sounds really
It's
fun.
insanity. Absolute
Oh, I
insanity.
bet they love that one.
Yes, but it was very overwhelming. 1,000 Asian men staring at me, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." But the Lord helps you,
Yeah.
and you find your voice, and you find your confidence, and then you go home and drink a lot of coffee, and you go, "Ah,
Yeah, wow. And I think many times, like for a lot of people, they may not get to the point where you are, right? A lot of speaking engagements, but in our everyday lives, actually, there are so
well,
many opportunities.
well." And I spoke at
Yeah.
mum and dad things, and I
Mhm.
spoke at gatherings. I mean, church life. I've spoken under trees. I've spoken under tents.
Yeah.
I mean, you have too. We've
Yeah.
done all sorts of things
Yeah.
all over the place in
Yeah.
very odd places.
Yeah.
But if you can communicate well,
Yep.
the message that you have inside can help people.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. I want to help people.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a crucial thing. I
Yeah,
always told my husband too. I mean, we talk about this all the time. Actually, communication is probably key for us, even
yeah,
to reach the world,
of course.
and to do the work that God has called us to do. Because
Yeah,
maybe I feel something, I wanna express that, but if I don't do that well, I end up, saying the wrong
exactly.
thing,
Yeah,
or then communicating the message that wasn't intended, which is
guilty
probably
as charged.
right? Yeah, very common
Always.
thing for
Yeah,
a lot of us. And I'm trying to imagine, even for so many different like people who are listening to this podcast, what are some things that maybe that can help them to communicate better? Because in
yeah,
conversation, right? I mean, we talked about this just before we recorded, but AI is a huge part of our lives now. But AI cannot, I think, bring a lot of the heart,
definitely.
the some
The
things that
nuance,
the
the
nuance.
personal perspective, the
Yeah,
the shadowing and the shade that there
yeah,
needs to be.
yeah.
And also AI is assuming a lot of things,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which may be a wrong assumption. May not
exactly.
be what you really want to say.
Yeah, exactly. And I think today, in our culture, in our generation, people need to learn how to communicate better.
Yeah.
And because what we say actually is, the Bible says this, right? That out of the abundance
Of
of
your
our
heart,
heart, our
right.
mouth speaks.
Correct. which is a
So
scary thought for me.
scary.
It's come out of my mouth and I think, wow, is all that in my heart?
Yeah, and I think the
Right?
desire for most people is, hey, I wonder what comes out from my mouth to be good and to
Jesus, help
be
us.
exactly to be glorifying to God. So how do we get there?
Well, one of the interesting things with communication theory was the whole idea of pathos and ethos, not
Mm,
just the logos, right?
yep.
When we teach, I mean, I teach communication as well,
Yeah.
that we look at the logos is what you're going to say, the actual words, the syntax. But then the ethos is your
Yeah.
value system that comes through. And then the pathos is the emotion,
Yep.
right? And so that was back in Aristotle's day.
Yeah.
Right. But we've lost that because AI is generally just the logos.
Yep.
Occasionally some pathos, they'll throw in a story about a sick dog or something,
Yeah.
but it's not going to have your ethos.
Yeah.
And it's the same in Christian communication. There must always be the head, the heart, and the hands, right? We want
Mm-hmm.
to talk to people's minds, we want to move their heart, we want them to do something.
Yeah.
So all of that is very important in communication, and I think AI just misses big chunks of that.
Yep.
Now, it's helpful in some areas,
Yeah.
but when you cut out the heart and you're just giving people raw information or information that might come from a slant. I've had students dish up Mormon theology. And I'm like,
Wow.
guys, do you even know what you're reading?
Yeah.
So that's scary. So, there's that too. So how can people communicate better? Gosh, Gladys, we could be here for a long
Let's
time.
do it.
So I think the first thing when we think of communication, we have to say that it's what happens between you and me. It's interpersonal,
Yeah.
as well as it might be a group thing or whatever. And it might be within myself, my
Mm.
self-talk,
Yep.
right? So if
Yep.
my self-talk is negative and I'm communicating negative all the time to myself, Susan, you idiot, you're doing this podcast. What are you
Mm.
saying? Look, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
I can have that running
So
monologue in the
real.
back of my
Mm-hmm.
head, right? That's going to mess up what comes out my mouth. So we have to determine. But I think a lot of people, they're just frightened. What will
Mm.
Gladys think of me?
Yeah.
What will Susan think of me? Will they
Yeah.
think this is dumb? I
Yeah.
better not. So fear is a huge thing. So what if I really told my husband what I really thought?
Mm-hmm.
Would that ruin what we have? It's already a bit. So I get a lot of that because I do a lot of marriage counseling and stuff. What if I really said what I really thought? What if I really asked what I really need? So
Mm.
fear is a big thing. And then learning how to say what I want in a way that's not going to alienate the other person or say what I want to communicate. So I don't want to throw up barriers. I want to bring down barriers,
Yeah.
right?
Good.
And so that's a big thing. And people can learn that.
Yep.
So like my husband hates being ambushed. He's like, do not ambush me.
Yeah.
It's pre-marriage stuff, guys.
Yes.
So I make appointments with him. I said, this coming Monday, we need to talk about
Yep.
XYZ because I am going to lose the plot.
Yeah.
And,
That's
and
very
an
practical.
ambush might happen.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I'm with you. So,
Yes.
so sometimes, it's just learning that skill
Yep.
and learning if it's just an interpersonal communication, what does this person react to or not react to? What works
Yeah.
best for them, right?
Yeah.
So you have 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
You know that your 3 are all going to be different, right?
Yep.
So you tailor accordingly. And then I think the other thing that is important in interpersonal, but also in group communication, is taking the concept and making it concrete.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of conceptual talking,
Yeah.
and people go, I enemies.
Yeah.
I love my enemies.
Yeah.
But what do I do with the mother-in-law that's undermining my kids?
Yep. Yep.
Or my neighbor, and I've got to love them, but what does that really look like? Or is there a boundary to that? Or how does that work? Or I'm
Yeah.
at work, right? And someone's stolen my project.
Mm.
And the cell group leader says, we'll just pray about it. That's not good communication.
No, that's terrible.
It's not helping them, right?
No.
So I think often we talk very conceptually
Yeah.
and people just go away confused and then afraid to ask the question, like, what do you actually
Yeah.
mean? Right?
Yeah.
So I try to break it down. Then some people say, oh, no, I'm not stupid. I'm like, great. Well, then we'll move on.
Yeah.
But I find a lot of the time people aren't really sure what you actually mean.
Yeah.
And
Don't assume.
yeah. Oh, I've got a great story about assumptions, but that's
Go
for
for it.
another day. We make bad assumptions. That's the other thing.
Mm.
Golly gosh.
Yeah. No,
So I don't
in
know.
marriage too, right? I think,
Marriage,
yeah.
parenting, at work, in the cell group. It's It's a pain.
No,
And
it's
then
so difficult.
then we start going back and our self-talk's going and we're like, oh, and now all sorts of nonsense comes out.
Yeah. No, because when you think about marriage or even with our kids, right, and just daily life,
Yeah.
actually the way we communicate something is crucial to building depth in the relationship
Yep.
or not, or like
Yep.
ruining it completely,
Correct.
right? And so I don't think we can see communication as like a separate thing from our lives. It's actually an important part of building a healthy relationship.
And the scripture talks about that. The
Yeah,
scripture says that words have life.
good.
And words can really, I mean, I think we can all remember the school teacher that told us, something negative,
Yeah.
right? Susan, you'll never get it. We very rarely remember the good things.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally we do, but
Yeah.
but mostly we remember the negative. And why? Because it attaches itself to us and it works its way in. But actually, a spirit of encouragement and the word of encouragement is a biblical thing.
Mm,
So, often we might think it, but we think, oh, I won't tell Gladys because she'll think I'm fangirling or something.
yeah.
Or she'll think like, what will she think? Maybe she thinks I want something from her, or, oh, well, and so we go through all this. And so we miss the opportunity to say, hey, Gladys, I really appreciated what you shared. It was great.
I'm glad you
And
brought this up.
and you miss the
Yeah.
opportunity to be encouraged.
I This is a huge thing to me. I think especially in the Singapore context,
Yes.
I
Yes.
wish that people would express that a lot more.
Yep.
And what do you think? I mean, what is the problem? How can we overcome that?
I
Because
think it's fear.
yeah.
I think we're very fear based and shame based, and we're always risk averse. Like, what
Mm,
if? Well, what if? Well, what if it actually went really great?
yeah.
And sometimes my daughter will say to me, Mum, I think you're crazy. I said, great.
Yeah.
I probably am. It's all good. It's all good. I'm not actually living for that person's validation. I mean,
Good.
that's taken me a long time to get there. And that's why I think my speaking's better now than it was in the beginning, because I think in
So
the
good.
beginning I was performing and I wanted people to like it and I wanted them to say, yay. And I was looking for feedback. But now I'm like, you know what, Lord, I was on assignment. I did what you asked. I'm good.
Yeah.
And so I think now that's a bit highbrow for just sort of greeting your neighbor, but
Yes.
that the principle is the same. I'm scared what they will think. I'm fearful. What if it doesn't go well? What if now they want to be my best friend and they're knocking on my door and annoying me? That's the
Yeah.
other thing. I better be
Yeah.
self-preserving, right?
Yep.
So I'm working through that with my 14-year-old even. Like, hey, it's good to be friendly. It's okay if they knock on our door. It's all right if they think we're nuts.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. In the church context too, because you
Yes.
talked about like relationships, right?
Hmm.
Um, do you need to know somebody very well in order to communicate with them well?
No, not at all.
Right?
Not
Yeah.
at all.
Maybe you can share a bit of that because we meet new people all the time,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of new people come through our doors. Hey, I
Yeah.
mean, you walk in the lift,
Well,
you
we
meet a
put
new person.
signs up saying,
Right.
hey, all of this stuff, and then we don't say anything. I actually said to an usher the other day, because the sign said, good to see you. I said, good to see you. And she went, okay. And I was like, oh, I think I frightened her. But the sign said, it's good to see you. So I said, it's good to see you too. And then she looked at a sign and she went, ha ha.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, glory.
Okay, so
Sorry, anyone from my region.
oh, it's fine because
But I
that's
was
so
like,
real.
it's like, girl, did you even read your sign?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know. Like, did you read your
Yes, yeah.
sign?
No, but that's so real. How do we no, you know what? Church needs to be a welcoming place. It needs to
Yeah,
be a place that people feel comfortable
yeah,
in.
yeah,
And actually opening your mouth would
yeah,
help. And even if you just ask somebody, hey, how are you?
yeah,
Right? Good to see you.
yeah.
That could be
You're
great
here
too.
again.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
But I feel like okay, so like especially in my own, like church context, we want to love people. We want to show people that we
Yeah.
care for them, but that doesn't really come through as
But
much. What can we
you've
do?
got to overcome your fear of self and
Yep.
fear of other people. You've
Yeah.
just got to force yourself. You've got to step out and maybe practice.
Yeah.
Practice a few lines that will work,
Mm-hmm.
that will put your mind at ease, that you can say. And this is a little bit of a segue,
Yep.
but when we had all that infertility, right?
Yeah.
So I never used to know what to say when people asked us. Do I tell them about the
Oh
state of
wow.
my ovaries, or do I like tell them about the state of my mind, or do I like say it's none of your business? Like,
Yeah.
and Shane was like watching me go through all these like conversation. He's like, you know what? We need a tagline. I'm like, we
Mm.
do. He said, we do. I like, oh, okay. Because he said, I never knew too much, enough. How much? What are you really asking? Do you
Yeah.
really want to know how I am?
Yeah.
Or are you just like flipping me off? So he came up with this line, oh, yes, well, our children are on order. They haven't been delivered yet.
Beautiful.
And then he would just walk on by. And I was
Yeah.
like, what he said, just keep moving. So I think in a church context, if you're like an usher or you're next to me or something, have a few lines sort of ready rehearsed
So good.
that you can get out without sort of and get ready with a follow-up line and just practice them, rehearse them.
Yeah.
The second thing I think is read the room. Some people don't want the chipper
Or don't
the
know how
moment.
to read the room.
Well, that's enough.
Help us out with that too. Help us
Okay,
out.
in a
Okay.
minute. So
Yeah.
let me explain what read the room
Yeah.
means. It means look at the body language.
Hmm.
Look at what's going on. Is this mother trying to get her kids into VK and she's got a recalcitrant kid and she's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to give you my phone number right now.
Yeah.
Actually, I probably don't even want to give it to you. I
Yes.
just want to get this kid into Sunday school because so and so's been bugging me to come to your stupid church.
Yeah.
So if you're like,
Yes.
hey, welcome, they're like, you know,
Yeah.
so you've got to be able to read the body language. You've got to
Good.
look at the big picture, what's happening in this context of this. This mother is being harassed by her 7-year-old kid. So now is not a good time. So I make a little mental check. Hi, a little bit reserved. Then I circle back when I see her and I go, oh, I saw, did you get your kid in? How'd it go? You okay?
Yeah.
And I try and come in at something that's where that person is at.
Yeah.
Right. So otherwise we're just a little bit too much eager beaver
Yep.
versus like the silent stone.
Yeah.
Reading the room is body language.
Yep.
It is looking at the bigger picture of context,
Yeah. Timing.
timing,
Yep.
um, and what am I going to say? What would be most helpful to this person right now?
Yeah.
What's helpful to me is getting your phone number so I can fill in you care.
Yeah.
But what's helpful for you?
Yeah.
And I think that's the other side of good communication is thinking about, is this communication about me? And it's all my way, or is it about you?
Yeah.
Because
So
good
good.
communication is two-way.
Yeah.
Proclamation is preaching
Mm-hmm.
and to a certain extent teaching, where I'm just going to say and see you later,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we might have an altar call, which might be a sort of a response, or we might have a Q&A, but largely I am going to give my lecture
Yeah.
and you're going to listen,
Yeah. And
right?
a good conversation is two-way.
Right. So when I
Yeah.
come into that conversation, whether it be greeting someone at the first time or the person in the lift or the lady in the coffee shop or the new person that's been assigned to my group or maybe a new colleague at work, am I thinking about my needs in the communication process or am I
So
thinking
good.
about your needs? So
Mm.
how can I make you feel comfortable? What would be helpful for you? And how do I bring what I need without going, hey, by the way, can you just like do this?
Yeah.
And I think as parents, we do that a lot.
Mm. Mm.
I'm really bad at this.
Mm.
Shane is really good at it. He's like, hey girl, how you going? To Anna, like, tell me about your day. And I'm like, have you practiced your piano? Like, it's what I need to know.
Hey, guilty as
And
charged.
she's like, Mom. And Shane's like,
Yeah.
"Doing?"
No, it's true because sometimes in communication we are more concerned about getting the job done
Getting
or
the
the
job done,
task,
getting the
like
task, getting the
mhm,
information I require.
more than the person.
So we're not thinking about, and then we wonder why the next time they don't want to talk to us.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's the same in parenting, but it's the same in that new connect group. It's the same in that person that comes to church. And so, or the person at work or whatever. So I'm really trying to almost intentionally remind myself, okay, what are my opening lines? What have I rehearsed? What would be needful for them? Looking at the context and not getting lost in sort of jargon, but being very concrete.
Yeah. What would you say what you're learning right now in order to improve on that? Or like to improve in your communication?
Editing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm learning to edit because I
Yeah.
have a lot to say and
Yeah.
I like hearing my voice. I think
I
I'm pretty
I
good.
love you, Sue.
So I'm like, yeah, but and my husband's going
Like putting a
like this
filter,
in the back,
like finding a
like
filter.
finding a
You
filter,
can
editing, like how could I say this in a more concise way? Would this make more sense another way? Am I only looking this through my perspective? Am I using words that are not helpful.
Yeah.
Like I love the word recalcitrant. I just think it's a fabulous word. But people look at me like, what? And I'm like, okay.
Well, I have a husband like that too. His
Yeah.
vocabulary is quite different from
Yeah.
everybody else's. So I
Yeah.
have to tell him, look, you cannot use this
Yeah.
word because like 98%
Percent of
of the people
people,
do not know
that's right. I'll have a
and don't
talk
want.
with Chris. We'll have a good conversation. We can play taboo together. I love that game. I always win. But that's but honestly, for me, not for your husband, for me, that's very self-centered. I just
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
But that's actually not helping the
Exactly.
person.
Mm.
And it's not helping the two-way thing.
Yeah.
So what could I do? So learning to edit and really taking out the superfluous
Yeah.
and being quite particularly in my teaching, being quite specific and targeted and making sure that people have a takeaway. Now, there's a lot of talk about shorter communication, shorter times, although we just said there were podcasts that are 3 hours long.
Yep.
Who knew?
Very successful ones.
I do think that if you have enough to say and it's good enough to say, it's worth the time.
Yeah.
We don't want to just live in sound bites.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, sometimes all people have got time for is a soundbite. So am I giving them a great big bone to chew, or have I
Yeah.
tailored it to their need?
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm learning right now.
Yeah. I
Sorry.
mean, a big part of actually why I did this too is I did feel like people needed to hear good conversations.
Sure.
And you
Not
know,
rubbish.
that's yeah, because there's so much out there
So many
and
voices.
so many voices, but I want something that people can hear that's rooted in the word of God and
Yeah.
that people can use for like their daily lives, you know, and
Yeah.
everyday lives that's practical. And good conversation actually I feel like would lift you up and
Yeah.
you learn something from
You
it.
learn something, you feel lifted
Yeah.
up, you feel encouraged, and you might even be challenged, a little bit of a pinprick of conviction, which is
Yeah.
good for all of us, for myself
Yep.
included. That's why I really love teaching. We
Yeah.
just finished 3 weeks of marriage, family, in the church,
Mm-hmm.
and I had all African and all Indian students.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It
Oh.
just blew my head. Some of the questions, just amazing. Some of the conversations we had.
Yeah.
And we even got into bioethics of fertility, and
Wow.
we got into, I don't know, the nuances of marriage, the weeds of marriage, theology of singleness. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved it. And
Yeah.
they loved it. We were
Yeah.
like, should we do another week? I'm like, guys, I'm not sure I could do another week,
Yeah.
but it was great because the voice of culture is very loud. And when we were in doubt, I'd say to the class, well, let's stop. Let's go look in scripture. Let's
Mm-hmm.
everyone take 5 minutes, turn off our cameras, go do some digging,
Yeah.
do some concordance work, and let's come back and see what we find. And
Yeah.
let's tease out what the scripture's saying because we need a standard.
Yep.
We need something that we bump up against. And it was great. I
Yeah.
just love it.
Yeah. No, I think why we love you too, Susan, is because you are the opposite of like what Singaporeans are. We always, I think our filter is a bit too strong.
Probably mine's probably a
We
bit
are
weak.
way too conservative, right? And
Figful, I would say.
yeah,
Not all Singaporeans are conservative.
no, it's true. It's true. But maybe we don't know if
We,
what we have to say is worth like somebody else listening to, you
okay,
know?
okay,
And
yeah,
I think that's a big part of it too. You're
right,
afraid that maybe my voice is not important,
right.
right?
Which is not
I think
true.
it's the other extreme of like how the Asian culture is too. We
Yeah.
are always told not to say certain things, so you cannot, like give us an
Right,
opinion.
right,
For some, this is rightly so. You shouldn't give all your opinions, right? But I think for many
So
people,
fat.
yeah, you go to the other, you're too quiet about it, or you're like we said just now, you don't want to encourage, you want to speak up. So I'm trying to think about this, but what are some maybe handles, like practical handles, somebody can start doing today to help in this area of communication and maybe to be able to come out of the shell a bit more,
Yeah,
talk a bit more,
I guess it
yap a
depends.
bit more.
Yeah, well, I think if you're in a relationship like a marriage or a parent or a close friendship, you need to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to frustrate the other person if you never open up. I do this thing on the circles of intimacy.
Okay.
And so, out here is a one. And that's the person at the bus stop. Most people here don't talk to people at the bus stop.
Yeah.
I do, just to annoy people. But
What do you say? I want to know.
I say, good morning. I wonder if the bus will be on time. It will be. It's Singapore, right? And they're like,
It's a monologue.
so yeah, it's a monologue. I'm practicing my Shakespearean whatever. Anyway, but you could start there. But if you come into your core relationships and you're still talking about the weather,
Yeah.
or what time the bus is coming, you're not going to build intimacy in your
Yeah.
relationships. And intimacy is an interesting word. Some people always think sex, but
Yeah.
actually intimacy can be social, it can be
Yep.
emotional, it can be financial, it can be geographical,
Yeah.
so we've got to move in. So think about your relationships and who are those people very precious to you at the core. What kind of conversations do you have with them? Are you having the
Mm,
bus stop conversations or the lift conversations?
yeah.
Or are you actually coming in and opening up a little bit more of yourself? So again, some psychological models help us, like the Johari window, the
Mm,
public box, the private
yep.
box. If your public box is too open, you're a TMI.
Yeah.
But if it's too closed, maybe you need to pry it open a bit.
Yep.
So maybe a self-assessment. Am I actually talking? Am I actually communicating in my very close relationships, the people that I really value in my life? When was the
Mm,
last time I had a good heart to heart?
yep.
So self-assessment,
Yep.
and then work towards frequency of increasing that and making that better, and maybe picking a topic that you could,
Mm,
hey, let's go have a coffee and let's talk
yeah.
about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it.
Anyone. Yeah.
And they'll be like, what? No,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. So that in personal, in public speaking, I think have to be very careful that you don't speak about things you're not convinced about,
Yeah. Oh, I love this point because I think
right?
it really starts from here,
Yeah, it's got to
right?
be your heart.
You're
So
convicted about it,
yeah,
or you have some kind of conviction about
yeah.
it, and it comes, I mean, this is biblical, right? Out of the abundance of your heart, the mouth speaks.
So you'll never hear me give a lecture on the benefits of smoking,
Yes.
right? I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
But likewise, there have been some topics that have come across my desk. I've said, you know what, this is not for me. Or I've
Mm,
said, you know what, this is a struggle for me. And I think I'm going to end up in a mess if I share this.
yep.
So call me in 6 months
Yeah.
when I've got better at this. So I
Mm,
think in public speaking, you have to have the conviction. You need to practice. You can look at yourself, play yourself back. We used to do that at Teachers College,
yeah.
all those kind of things. But ask yourself, what would I want to hear? What would
Mm,
help me in the audience?
mm,
Am I brave enough to go there? So my students have asked me, for example, they want a class that deals with sexual stuff.
yeah.
I said, really?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we want to do porn, we want to do masturbation. I'm just about like, really? Oh, Jesus,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, then. I said,
Yeah.
okay, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
I don't really want to do it, but is it going to help someone? Yes. If I have time to craft it and I can think about it,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess it depends where you're afraid to communicate, because
Mm-hmm.
there's two
Mm-hmm.
quite different worlds. But definitely with personal communication, open up that private window.
Yeah. I
Let
think it
people
comes down
in.
to two things, like what is your purpose and your goal,
Hmm.
right? It's I love what you keep saying. Actually, it's about people. It's about their needs. It's about what
Yeah.
they need. When you communicate, it's not for yourself. So that people,
Sometimes it is, but it
yeah,
shouldn't be all consuming.
exactly. Like it shouldn't over consume
Right.
why you communicate or
Correct.
even just how you communicate.
Yeah.
Because people also want to know that you are interested in their lives, right? You're not just, and
Sure.
you're talking about this intimacy thing. I think it's powerful. I mean, every time like my husband and I go on a walk together, we talk.
Yeah.
And after that talk, we always feel like, oh, that's exactly what we needed.
Yeah, and we used to, because my husband's not a conversationalist.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows Shane know he's just quiet. Like,
Yeah.
and when I first married him, I was like, geez, I've married an ice statue. This is going to be exciting. And I but even begging him to have a fight with me, like just anything, give me something, buddy.
Yes, yes.
But we crafted conversations.
Yep.
Okay, today we're going to go for a walk and we're going
Okay.
to talk about one thing that we think we're doing well in our marriage. And he'd be
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I am not kidding you. We're going to do it.
Mm.
And I would just wait.
Yep.
And then he began to talk and I learned to wait and we learned to dance better in our conversations. And now sometimes I fall asleep while he's still talking,
Yeah.
which
My
is crazy.
goodness. Yeah. That
And
how the tables have turned.
yeah, and so we actually, and Anna will say, "What are you two yapping about now?" And we're like, "Well, we're talking about this." So, so sometimes it's just giving that other person space, or recognizing maybe we need to start with a very sort of contrived thing, but we're going to work on that because I value you and you value me, and we're going to make this work. So in the cell group, right? Let's make it more practical for
Yeah.
people that maybe are not married. You've got really quiet people, so don't take them from the bus stop to number 5.
Yeah.
Like, what's the worst thing in your life? What's your biggest fear? They're going to go like, you haven't even asked me how my day was,
Yes.
and now you're expecting me to reveal like my
Your
deepest
whole life,
secret?
yeah.
I don't think so. So we want to move incrementally through that
And read the room, right?
and
Because
read the room
yeah.
and just allow a bit of time. And I've seen that happen with people. They've really begun to blossom and flourish.
Mm,
And it's been lovely,
yeah.
really lovely. And then you find out, wow, this person's got a really interesting opinion. They actually have something that could contribute to that person. Wow, there's a gifting there I didn't know that could be matched with that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's something so special when you have a good conversation,
Yeah,
and you
that's why you're a
feel like,
podcaster.
and that's what I enjoy about what I do too. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, thank you, Susan, for sharing all this wisdom. No, it's so many practical things I think that we can take back. To me, I think the biggest thing is it's about your heart and
Yeah,
about what comes out of your
yeah,
heart. And so grow and make sure that that's good
yeah,
and it comes from the right place.
yeah.
I think if that is true, then it comes out from that. I think you've got some
I've
books you
got
want to
some
share.
books to show you.
I
So
love
if
that. Go
anyone
for it.
is a preacher communicator, this little
Hey, why
book,
don't you share with us? Yeah.
Small Preaching
Mm.
by Jonathan Pennington, really great little book. Rob Parsons, if you've ever heard him speak, he's fantastic. The Art of Communication, easy
Yeah.
read. I reckon I mean, John
I've seen
has
this
been
one.
around a
Mhm.
long time, but this is really good.
Okay. Yeah.
I think this is one of his best books. And for all you cerebral academic types, Marriage, Sex, and the Service of God. Fabulous.
Yeah. Wow.
Really fabulous. It's a hard read, but it's a good read. So
Yeah. I've seen
if
all
you
your post-its
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. If you're just a everyday communicator, pick up Uncle John.
Yep.
If you're a preacher, have a look at these. And if you're an academic, try Christopher Ashe. He's fantastic.
No, fantastic.
So read, take classes,
Learn.
learn,
Yeah.
and be discerning in your learning. Don't watch stupid TikTok people.
Yeah.
Watch Gladys Slim. Listen to
Oh,
Chris
thank
Slim,
you. Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
Make sure you're a bit discerning. But yeah, so that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you
Well,
so much, Susan.
God bless you.
Yeah. Well, and thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope this episode and this conversation has helped you to live full.